Well, the keys real quick before we hit in the control room. I want to ask you about, this looks like it's in great shape. It's Wurlitzer.
Yeah, the Wurlitzer belongs
Bodies
actually
nice.
to Paul Phelan, who works here, like I say, a few days a month, and sometimes assists me. It's as far as we can tell, it's a fairly early 200, which of course predated the 200A. So I think we were told it would have been about 66.
Okay.
If you look closely, it's not actually black. It's avocado green, which is a rare color.
Oh, yeah.
For this type of piano.
Interesting.
It was just serviced and modded by my dear old friend Adam Melnick, who's a Hamiltonian.
Oh, yes.
And
Nice.
a fine keyboard technician. Who helps me with a lot of stuff around here. It was modded to 200A spec, which was just a variation of the circuit that's a lot less noisy. So now it's like nice and quiet. I record it often with a 421 right on this little speaker in front, because frankly, the speaker has a sound. Like it, just
so
like the
cool.
breakup of the speaker, just like is the sound of this piano to me. There is a direct out, which is very useful when tracking live too, and I can always reamp that,
Sure.
or I could do all kinds of stuff with it. The truth is, running it direct through one of the Ward Beck strips is great. It sounds really good that way.
Well, to me, it makes me feel so good inside, because I recorded one of these 6 months ago, and I Googled it, and somebody said 57 right here, and I did that, and you're right. It's almost the one that you keep.
Piano.
Yeah, and you get a little bit of that too, because it's so close.
Totally.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know anything about these, but tell me, when these come up and around, there's these, and then you see the Rhodes a lot. What's the difference? And these are more expensive.
Right.
What's the difference between a Wurlitzer and a Rhodes?
They have different sounds. It's a different construction. I don't know exactly what the difference is inside. I know that there are tines inside both of them, as far as I understand.
Are they different eras?
No, they would be similar eras. Okay. The Rhodes was a company unto itself, as far as I know, that Fender then purchased.
Okay.
Wurlitzer, of course, is an old piano company that started making. Even before these, they made the 200 series models. I believe there were 240, etc., which you would hear on like Ray Charles' "What I Say" is one of the earlier ones. Adam Melnick tells me that those keyboards are a nightmare to work on.
Really?
And these were updated just to make them easier to work on, more reliable, the action better.
The red ones?
They'd be kind of a weird beige color.
Oh, okay.
And they'd have sort of a boxier kind of thing. A Rhodes piano it doesn't have the same attack as a Wurlitzer. It's got more of a sort of a subtle kind of later. Kind of a chimey thing.
Yeah.
And there's a place for a Rhodes for sure. I was happy when Paul brought this in, because I find that with some EQ, I can get a Wurlitzer sounding kind of Rhodesy. But a Rhodes, it's hard to give it back that attack that the Wurlitzer has.
That's a cool point.
I really I find that the Wurlitzer is a really widely applicable sound, and I like it a lot.
That's really cool.
The truth is, these three keyboard instruments are sort of my main go-tos in terms of putting keys on a record. I have a little bit, I have a little synth, and sometimes people will bring in synths, but in terms of analog piano instruments, these are my three go-tos.
That's cool.
The organ is an M3.
Okay.
1956, and came to me also from Adam, Adam and I go back. We were in bands together. We were in high school together. So when something interesting comes in, he usually calls me.
That's cool.
And I think it was just somebody's grandpa had it at the cottage.
Really?
And never played it. And it needed a little bit of service, and Adam did it. But
before, I was going to ask you, before this sound came into pop, or not pop, but indie rock music, where were these residing? Churches or? Yeah.
If you talk to Adam, he gets calls from churches a lot. Every church wanted to have an organ, and certainly now is really the era when a lot of them are finally tanking.
Right.
Perhaps a congregant comes along and wants to make a donation, and they want to donate a new organ. Well, what do you donate? If you donate an organ in 2017, you walk into Long & McQuaid and buy a new Hammond keyboard organ, right?
Right, that's right.
So they're throwing these things out.
Yeah.
And I think he tends to get them from there, or just households that it's not as common to have. Well, certainly it's not very common to have an organ in the living room anymore. It's less common even to have a piano in the living room now, which is why there's all these pianos out there that are, free.
And did the Leslie come with it, or
the Leslie I had first, to be honest.
Okay.
I bought it to tour with Sitting Color because I was playing a little bit of organ in the show, really not very much. But I got this bright idea that I had to travel with a Leslie if I was going to play an organ sound, even though I was touring with a Nord. But it traveled with me quite a bit, and it it probably played like 3/4 of the shows, and then the other quarter, the crew was like, "We're not bringing that thing in tonight." But this is also an Adam Melnick deal that's like assembled from parts. I told him that it didn't matter if the cabinet was junky because it was going to be on the road anyway.
Right.
But the amp was pretty pristine. Came out of some other. It's a Model 145, and it came out of another 145 or 147 that was, you know, somebody's grandma played it after church or whatever, and the tubes are original. And
crazy.
Yeah, I've got the combo preamp pedal, which is right here, which is okay.
Oh, wow.
This is just to get a 1/4-inch signal into the Leslie.
Oh, okay.
But then Adam built me, years ago, he built me this, which is essentially a Garnet Herzog type thing, so which means it's a Fender Champ circuit with an input level and a master level. But it also, he added this 6-pin control so that it can power a Leslie, and there's also a speed switch here.
Wow.
So it's like a preamp. I mean, it is a preamp that can power the Leslie, or you can run 1/4-inch out into the in of another amp, and then drive the tube really hard and get like a, you know, a distorted sound.
That's so cool.
So generally, if I'm running 1/4-inch into the Leslie, I use this. This is handy, but I mean, this is sort of the better sounding thing.
And have you ever toured with something like this?
Not with this, no.
Do people tour at all, or are they just faking it with a Nord
They
and a
do,
box?
but it depends. I mean, most of them are Nords and boxes, to be quite honest. You know, you'd have to look up Nord Shame, which is a blog where they document how different people have hidden their Nords. You know, you'd have to be at a pretty high level of touring to tour with this. No, it definitely happens. I would say that if you're already at that level where there's an actual organ traveling, they tend to be B3s, which are this is like the home version of the B3. It's the M3.
Right.
And the B3 is quite large, and they definitely exist. They're cased up with their matching Leslie 122s. Backline companies own them. Most of the jazz guys will fly in and have them backlined, and so like, you know, they'll want to play a B3 for sure, but it'll come from a local place.
Right.
On the road, like, yeah, you'd have to be like, I'm sure the guy in like Tedeschi Trucks tours with a B3. Even the truth is, the guy from Wilco, I think, stopped.
Yeah, I was going to ask
bringing an
Wilco.
organ.
I thought that would be, but
I think
he's
he
got
used
so
to.
many keys up there.
Yeah. And I don't think they do it anymore. You know what? The Sheepdogs, Seamus has an A100 as far as I know, which is another model of a B3. It's like the living room version of the B3. And I would say that probably only travels on like road stuff where they leave from Toronto. You know what I mean? I'm sure they do numerous fly-ins.
You probably got to give your crew a nice Christmas bonus if you're doing
if they're going to move a B3
every night.
You better be B3. So you better be Jimmy Smith if you're going to tour with a B3. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it better be central to your sound if you're going to go to the treble. Which is kind of sad because, like, a real instrument is amazing to play, but then again, the emulations are so good. We'll get to that in the control room. Like, I use a lot of emulation in there, even on the analog stuff, and like, you know, for the cost and the ease of use and all that stuff, sometimes that's just the reality of a situation. This business no longer has the kind of money in it that it used to. You know what I mean? So it's, you know, people have to do what they have to do.
That's fair. Yeah.